We are live on the Let's Go Ricky Roll podcast. I'm Bethel Duran, joined by the one and only Ricky Romero. The name of this podcast is Let's Go Ricky Roll. Ricky, where are you?
Home, man. Still stuck at home.
Yeah, normally we're talking about your exotic locations that you have all over the world, but we are in quarantine and we have a special guest today, a guy that you've known for a long time. Let's bring him in right now. World Series champion Sergio Romo joins us. Romo, you said you wanted to come on and you're here. Welcome to the Let's Go Ricky Roll podcast.
I'm here. I'm not chopped liver to you guys. That's what's up. I'm sitting there watching all your podcasts going, man, ni me habla el güey. Like, come on, please. Wonder when he's going to. And, well, here we are. Got the call. Hey, man, going to the show. And here I am on the show now, the podcast. Let's do it. What's
we
up,
needed a closer.
A closer. No, I mean, I've done that a little bit, but I like being the middle guy. You know what I'm saying? The bridge, the setup to the closer, like I like being Robin. Let's put it that way. I'll be Robin.
All right, Sergio Romo, usually when you do interviews, they ask you, like, oh, how's baseball? How's this and that? We don't care about that. We know baseball's good. It's in your hand. It's great. You're a professional baseball player. Whatever. Let's talk about when did you, Sergio Romo, first meet Ricky Romero?
Oh, goodness. Well, I've known of Ricky before I actually met him. He was one of those guys where I'm going, man, mira ese way, like he's in D1 and like he's Chicano like me, Mexicano, all the good stuff. And I was like, so I kind of knew of Ricky already. But I met him in 2007. We were in the fall league, the Scottsdale Scorpions. We did that a little bit, hung out, realized that there's other guys that are stories similar to mine, upbringing similar to mine, and it was just kind of one of those like, man, if this guy can do, make some noise, like I want to make some noise next to that guy. Guys like him, Cesar Ramos, Carlos Muniz, guys like those Chicanos, those Latinos, those Mexicanos, they're like, come from humble beginnings, but making that real name for ourselves. Even that guy, what's his name? He's in Miami, Cesar Carrillo. Like I even looked at that guy. I don't even think he's Mexican. You know what I'm saying? But I was like, man, look at that guy doing big things. Little guy doing big things. So I was like, man. So like there was a lot of proof that it's possible, so to speak. So yeah, that's basically how I met Ricky Rowe, and that's kind of the inspiration he's kind of been, maybe not knowing.
It's funny because in 2007 when we played for the Scottsdale Scorpions, obviously the fall league is a league where all the top prospects go, and it's a very prestigious league. The first time I met Serge, I'm never gonna forget this, and I don't know if you remember this. You were doing the bucket during BP, and we were shagging. And you kept yelling, "Hey, frijolito, frijolito, frijolito!" And I kept obviously you and I and Los Muniz were probably the only Mexicans on that team, and I was like, "Who is this guy that just doesn't shut up the whole batting practice?" And it was like our first day there too. So I just know the guys that I came in with from the Toronto Blue Jays. I don't really know much of I know of Carlos Muniz playing against him, but I didn't really know him. And it's funny because you like Serge said, we came from similar backgrounds, but we really didn't know who we were. And then that team kind of just brought us together big time. And I was, and Serge will tell you, I was super quiet and shy, and I mean I just didn't say much, and he was always trying to.
Everyone's like, that's Ricky Romero. That's Ricky Romero. That's Ricky Romero. And we're like, that's Ricky Romero. Hey, Ricky. And that was it. I swear to you. And then the only guys who would get him to talk were the guys who he knew was like Sergio Santos was there. What's his name? The Lunchbox. Or Icebox, whatever.
Travis Snyder, Lunchbox, yeah.
Yeah, that guy, like, he got you to talk to. Percy, yeah, he's kind of quiet himself, too. But, yeah, that was Ricky Rowe. He was really quiet. But when we did hang out, hey, off the field, though, you weren't as quiet.
I
And when I
wasn't.
say that, I'm talking like we played like PS2. That was when PS2 was the shish. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Like we played like Madden. We played. They didn't have the show then. I don't know. I don't think it was the show. There
Halo
was
was
another one.
the Halo was the game at the time. Remember Halo, Halo
Halo.
2?
That's right. It was the Xbox. Halo. I remember. Remember Caleb Stewart used to talk all that smack. What was that catcher's name from the Mets too? Him. He talked a lot of smack
Who was the catcher that was
for
Wilkin
playing Halo.
Castillo?
Say that
now
again.
we'll
No, Mike Nikias.
Mike Nikias.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Hey
So
man, we hung out a
it's
lot though, believe it or not. That was the first time that I actually realized that in pro baseball, you can hang out with your teammates and actually hang out with your teammates and there's not one guy trying to take something from you. It's not one guy trying to, hey, you know what, I'm gonna beat that guy to the show or no. It was no envy, there was no nothing. It was the fall league. Like you were the cream of the crop. Like if you were there, like that means because you were about like you were making your own noise already and you were about to make some more. You know what I'm saying? So like that was the
or on
first time that I actually hung out all the time with my teammates. Like that
Or on the
was
other hand,
it was
you
great.
were somebody like me who had been labeled a draft bust at the time. So I wasn't even going in as a starter. David Percy was the starter on that team. So they brought me in as a reliever. So I was in the bullpen
Yep.
with Serge and Muniz, Eddie Camacho, all those guys. And, because they could only have 5 starters, whatever it was. So I wasn't part of the rotation. So Serge was coming in with, I mean, being a 30 what rounder? 20 what?
28th. 28th.
20th
Yeah,
rounder.
so
I
Sergio
mean,
Romo
I was
drafted in
coming
the
from high
2005
A that
draft.
year too. There was only
hey,
three of us that
and
were
he
an
had
A
put up
ball on
good
that team
numbers
that year.
himself to be able to get to that fall league status because it's usually like they like to say, oh yeah, it's the top prospects, but Serge turned himself into a top prospect by putting up ridiculous numbers.
Oh, thanks, pal. Thanks.
So the way it works,
I
so
mean,
the Arizona Fall
you call a
League is
spade a
where
spade.
the studs go, right? The Arizona Fall
Hey,
League is where the studs are being sent. You're
I
still in
tell
the
you
minor
what, that
leagues.
was the year 2007 as a whole. That was my coming out year. That was like my coming out party. Going, hey, like I'm not, what do you say? I'm not any labeled anything. I didn't have a label. I didn't have prospect this, prospect that. I didn't have any kind of like money like put into me. There wasn't any. What's that? They didn't invest any much into me, but that those potatoes and when I mashed them, those mashed potatoes were pretty damn good, and so I ate it up as much as I could, and it wasn't that I felt that I was better than anybody or whatever, but I kind of always had that little chip on my shoulder, and I'm thankful to say that I kind of still do, where it's almost that like still something to prove. Being told no for the majority of my life, that wasn't the coolest things. It wasn't the best experiences that came with those no's, and but being able to stand where I'm at now and having been through the so-called trials and tribulations of my life, of my career path, my life choices. I'm proud of all of it, and it's not that I would like it was perfect, no, but I really wouldn't change anything because at the end of the day, me partió la madre. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it kicked my butt when I needed my butt to get kicked. You know what I'm saying? And it grew up in certain aspects. So, again, having others, seeing others do it, in bigger and grander lights, uh, like yourself, even guys like Brian Anderson. I looked up to Brian Anderson. Like, I really did. Like, as a prospect, I was like, man, that guy's hecka cool, dominates life. He dominated college. Like he's dominating the minors, and like Nick Pereira. These guys work so dang hard. I was like, man, I can. Like I work hard. Man, I can pitch. I got cojones. Like, wait, what makes me? You know what? It wasn't that I thought I was better than them, or no. I was like, man, I can play with these guys, and that was it. That's all I've always wanted to prove, and I still feel that I have that same chip where it's I can play with these guys. I'm 37. I throw what 85 miles an hour now. I mean, and that's like grunting, guys. That's like, hey, sacándola de donde sabes, you know what I'm saying? Like sacando, like they are, like, and just it's 85, but it's a thing called conviction. It's a thing called cojones, and that I don't know if you
And
can teach
and
them, but my dad gave
you've
it
had
me.
that from the first day I watched the pitch. It's funny because we pulled up your highlights from your debut, and watching those highlights, your reactions are the exact same from the first time I saw you pitch in the fall league, which was
Hey,
like a fist pump or a pointing up at the sky or staring the guy down, and I was like, wow, some things have never changed, but it's what's made you, and it's the conviction, and it's and there they are right
hey,
there, and it's just
Yeah, here it
I
is,
have the
it's
Romo.
nalgas
This
right
is
there. Look at
your
that.
major
Dang.
league debut. We can actually hear the audio too.
Arrived here on Tuesday. He's on the mound now for
Oh
his big league
no.
debut.
Look at that. First at bat.
Hey,
Pop-up fly into
You
shallow
remember
left,
that?
in and to his left is
yeah,
get,
three balls,
it
no
up
he
strikes.
makes the catch.
what's going through your head, Rich, through this moment right here. I mean, obviously you only have one day.
Sergio Romo
Believe it or not, the first three pitches obviously wasn't what I wanted them to be. They were balls. But when I threw my first strike, I distinctively remember going, dude, I can throw strikes in big leagues.
And that's your
Like
first
straight
major
up,
league
like
strikeout,
I
Casey Blake.
literally thought that.
Look at
Dude,
that stash.
91, bro. Upper tank. I remember that too because then he got traded to the Dodgers later that year and I punched his ticket out with a slider. Anyways. Um, but here's the thing was I threw my first strike and I thought that, wow, I could throw strikes in big league. And then the very next pitch, he flies out to left field and I got an out. And I don't know if you can see me, like if they show that as I'm walking out in that video, but I'm nodding my head going, heck yeah, I just got an out in the big leagues. Like, dude, like I was so jazzed and I was like, it was like proof. Like for me, it was kind of like an I told you so moment that I'm going to make it to the big leagues. And then it was kind of like, and I told you that I was going to get an out. And I told, like, you know what I'm saying? Like it was, and then I punched the ticket. I don't know. I saw it in that video.
Here
If
it
you look
is.
at, right here, 3-2 backdoor breaking ball, Dave DeLucci. I'm sorry, pal. I had to do it to you. 3-2 right here. Benji Molina called a 3-2 backdoor breaking ball, and I hit it. I remember that too. It was one of my proudest moments in baseball, believe it or not, because that was just that was like the respect that I had earned in that moment from Benji. You know, I've been blessed to have known Benji since my junior college years. I went to the same junior college he did at Arizona Western. Uh, and I beamed him in an alumni game, believe it or not, on purpose, first pitch. Yeah, there's a story behind that one too. Anyways, but I
Wait,
met
okay,
him then,
hold on. Before you move on,
and
we
he,
can't let you just say you beat Benji Molina in an alumni game and just walk past that.
yeah, it was just, dude, it's just the things I used to do, man. I had to get some name. I had to put it this way. I walked on to Orange Coast College. Orange Coast College in Costa Mesa, California, 2001, fall of 2001. I walked on. Why? Didn't have nowhere to go. My only scholarships out of high school or any kind of grants or any kind of anything to do anything after high school was to tech schools because I was pretty dang good at electronics technology. I wanted to be an electrician. Like it was a realistic dream of mine, realistic goal of mine coming from Raleigh, where I'm from. And plus, it's the desert, so like an electrician that knows how to work air conditioning and stuff like that. I'll always have a job. Like dude, come on, man. Like that's just my way of doing it. And then it was either that or the Navy, and I almost chose the Navy. Believe it or not, I took the ASVAB and everything. I was 5 feet from the recruiter signing myself up for 6 years, and just my dad did that, and my dad's my hero, so wanted to dang, he took care of us, and look at what we can do. Like, man, you know what, we can do this. So I wanted to do that too, come out and then be an electrician. But instead of doing that, I told my dad, you know what, I can make it. And he's like, wait, what? And I was like, I can make it. I can do this. And he's like, all right, you got 2 years junior college to prove you can do it. If not, you're signing up for 4 years in the Navy. he was cutting a deal with me. So I walked on to Orange Coast College, RIP John Altobelli, and he asked me to redshirt. I kicked some butt, couldn't afford it, but I couldn't afford to not go, not play. And my dad just couldn't do that to my dad with my sister already in college and my brother in high school. It just, I don't know, it didn't feel right. So I transferred to Arizona Western in Yuma, Arizona, and that's where I met Benji. So I transferred that semester. So mind you, I didn't play the fall. So I'd never really played in front of these guys before. So the first game that I get to pitch in a game that they see me is the alumni game. I come in and I don't know what inning. And the first hitter is number 11, Benji Molina. The reason why I remember his number is because I remember going, well, let's make an H out of that. And I pelted him with as hard as the fastball I had at the time. And I hit him right in between the numbers 11, and I tried to make the letter H. That's the only reason why I remember it was 11. And I hit him, and he literally gets hit, goes to first base, smiles at me. And my whole dugout, though, my whole team was thrown back. The whole stands, everybody, like the people that were in the game, they were watching the game. They were like, dude, like they were just so thrown back. And that's kind of where I started to get my rep as not a guy that doesn't give a crap, but a guy I'm not afraid. Like I didn't care who was in the box. Like I was gonna do my thing, and this is me. And I was all conference, all region, and 2 years there, and you know what I'm saying. Like I got some everlasting friendships. One of my best friends in life is I met him there, so it's pretty dope.
So from there,
kinda,
from there, you end up at Alabama, at a school in Alabama. How the hell does that happen for you? Like, how do you go from Southern California, Arizona, Alabama?
So Trip I'm pretty sure they still have it. In Arizona, they have this the Arizona Community College Athletic Conference, right? The ACCAC, right? Anyway, every year they have a sophomore showcase. So you play. It's like a Saturday and a Sunday, where all Saturday you do drills and all this stuff like that, I think, and then Sunday you play scrimmage games. And there's all these college recruiters from everywhere. I'm talking from D1 schools to NAIA, D3, any level, like 4-year schools. And they're there. So I went, I pitched, and I did well. Got some phone calls from D1 schools. Then they saw some transcripts, and then they didn't call back.
Which one?
Division II school called University of North Alabama. They offered me an out-of-state full ride, and they happened to offer my best friend Johnny Gaston. He offered him the same exact scholarship. So we went together. Why not? And at that point, it wasn't trying to make it to the big leagues. It was more so trying to get free schooling at that point. Like, okay, like, you know what, you kind of messed around a little bit, first couple of years, like you probably should do what your dad says at this point and do good. So I applied myself and I started going to school. Anyways, I kicked butt there. I was, I think I got like an honorable mention All-American or something like that. Like I got some pretty good accolades there. But I didn't get drafted, and I got kicked out of school.
You got kicked out of University of North Alabama?
Yeah, believe it or not.
And that takes you where does that take you from there?
The color of my skin ended up kicking me out of Alabama and giving me a scholarship to what is now Colorado Mesa University. At the time, it was Mesa State College in Grand Junction, Colorado.
Wait, why'd you get kicked out?
Because I was Mexican. I swear to Bob, that's what I was told. I was told that Mexican thing you do to baseball. I can't stand it. I have no room for it on my team. And I got made sure I didn't get drafted that year either because of that. Yeah, anyways, life experience, bro, life lesson. Learned that one pretty hard. Granted, I was no angel. I got in trouble. I had done some things, but I didn't. I don't feel I did enough to get my scholarship taken away. Let alone. Yeah. Anyways, so
Okay, yeah.
the
We'll leave it at
summer.
that. Anyways.
So trip on that. So it's a blessing in disguise, mind you. The summer before going into my junior year, I played in a summer ball team called Havasu Heat in Lake Havasu. And on that team, there was 4 guys that went to Colorado Mesa. And so when I got kicked out of school, I called them. It was Mike Johnson, Joe Dernberger, uh, Tyler Skaggs. No, not Tyler Skaggs. That's the picture guy. No, but his last name was Skaggs. I just can't. Ethan Skaggs. Um, and the other one was Trevor Stewart. These are guys that I called. I was like, hey man, I don't have a place to play. Like, call your coach. Like, what's up, Chris Hanks? Like, let me play at your school. Like, what's good? And he was like, so I got a phone call from Chris Hanks while driving back home from Alabama. And he asked me what's up. So I told him everything. I threw everything and the kitchen sink. Like, I didn't even hold that back. You know what I'm saying? Like, I gave him everything. The times I got in trouble, the times of fist fights, the arguments, the everything. And he calls the Alabama coach, and he calls me back right after that. And after calling him, he says, hey, what kind of scholarship did you have? And I was like, well, I had a full ride out of state, 70% for everybody. He's like, well, how's 80%? I was like, what? I don't understand. And the crazy part was he goes, I never met a kid that understood that he had everything to lose with nothing to gain, and yet everything to gain with everything to lose at the same time. And I was like, what the hell does that mean? Like, I didn't understand. And he goes, so you didn't have to tell me everything that you did. Your coach didn't know about half the things that you told me. The relationship with him, I can understand and see where it's a little rocky for the certain reasons, yada, 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 right? So you fast forward through my senior year in college, which I was 14-1, set 6 school
and we
records
got
and
pictures
4
of you at
conference
Mesa
records.
State.
You see that?
I pitched against that school 15 times that year. I pitched against the University of North Alabama 15 times my senior year, even though I didn't face them once. I had the biggest chip on my shoulder. I just had to prove them wrong. I had to beat them every time, and they only beat me once that year. And I got drafted, and one of the best compliments I ever got was from Chris Hanks after my last start of my senior year, in which I had a no-hitter into the 9th inning in regionals and threw a complete game. Anyway, we'll leave it at that. He told me that I was nothing like that guy right there. Yeah, he goes, I was nothing like that guy said I was. I was exactly the opposite, and that he would take that shot on me every time over and over and over again. Like, that's one of the best, if not the best, compliments I've gotten in my life. And it came from a guy who knew nothing about me and just still took a shot. So,
Beto,
that's what's up, Chris. Thanks.
And we've talked about this in the past in our podcast, and the journeys these guys take. And it's pretty interesting, right? He goes to 4 different places in the span of 4 years, still gets to the big leagues, and is successful. And this goes back to what we say about parents nowadays wanting their kids to sign letters of intent in 8th grade and 9th grade. I mean, all that stuff doesn't matter. Like, guys in the big leagues are not all Division I athletes. You see every single story that you could possibly think of in the big leagues. Serge being an example of one of them, and the journey that he had to take was completely different. Being close to going to the Navy and then not going, deciding to stay, making a promise to his dad, and just kept building, ends up in Alabama, comes back. and the rest is history. He gets drafted by San Francisco Giants, and you grew up a Dodger fan, correct?
Yeah, sheer irony of life with that one.
Yeah.
So
Sheer irony.
Romo's story is you're 5'8", maybe like a $150, maybe coming out of high school.
Oh, if that, 5'6", maybe 160, just because I was chubby.
Yeah, and you're in Brawley, California, where scouts are barely going through. It's on the border. So for you to go and dig out, you said it, you had the chip. Your thing was, I'm going to be an electrician. I'm going to go to the Navy. You have told me a story where you had the paperwork filled out. You were ready to walk in there. You go to the junior college. You go to different places. You could have easily just said at Northern Alabama, coach don't like me and forget it, F life, because there's so many other guys that have done that, blah, 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 but you found a way to get it. You're playing in Lake Havasu in a summer league where studs are playing in the Cape Cod League. You never have done life is against me. You've never made excuses. And you say you had that chip on the shoulder, because how many guys have you gone through, you played with, where it's like, oh, this, oh, that. And it's always something against them, and they never take accountability. Why are you like that?
Yeah, I've seen that quite a bit. A lot of thing is that saying, you can never judge a book by its cover. Meaning I'm not the biggest, I don't meet the status quo of being 6'2" at least, 195 pounds at least, throw 95 at least now. I don't have that. But a lot of it is conviction. I credit a lot of my success to backbone, conviction, being willing to take a lump, not being afraid to take a lump to get where I need to get to. And I credit my dad and my grandparents for that. My grandpas, you talk about heroes and great examples, and proof that, just, minding your business, basically staying right, staying in your lane, working hard, minding your P's and Q's, so to speak, dotting your I's, crossing your T's, what I'm saying? Just hard work, and, you can get somewhere. You can, at least at the very end of the day, being successful is having to them was having a home, a comfortable home for our families and whatnot, being able to put food on the table, that type of stuff. So a lot of that was the conviction that they gave me, that they got up every day and said they had to work with intent. If not, they weren't going to be able to survive that kind of lifestyle. Getting up, not just, 5 days a week. I'm talking 6-7 days a week, getting up to go to work. And then, you got a job on Monday to Friday, but on the weekends, you're also going to lettuce fields or alfalfa fields or sugar beet, red onion fields. And they taught me how to do that. When I was in high school, my summers in high school, while all the other kids are riding their bikes, going to swimming pools and doing whatever, I was waking up at 5 every morning, being at the field, lettuce field, again, all the different types of crops that they were planted at the time, depending on the season. That's where I spent my mornings at 5:30 to 2:30 every day. I'm in a lettuce field, chopping lettuce, loading boxes of lettuce, boxes on the trucks and stuff like that, getting on my bike, riding it just so I can make practice. You know what I'm saying? So it's work ethic, it's conviction, but doing things with intent, doing things with your heart, con cojones, you know what I'm saying? Sin miedo, scared money don't make no money. Yeah, but lazy money don't make any money either. You know what I'm saying?
That's you. That's you right there, right?
Yeah, it is.
You gotta earn your keep. You gotta earn it.
And it's true.
For me, guys, honest, I was that kid that was 11 years old that was promising his dad that he was going to retire his dad doing what his dad loved to do most, living his dad's dreams. So I was 11 years old. Me and my dad are watching Wednesday night doubleheader on TV. It's the Braves versus the Pirates. Why I remember that specifically, because Rudy Cianez, he's also from Brawley. He's also a World Series champ from Brawley. Hi, guys. What's up? Go Wildcats. that fool, he was on the Braves at the time, and we were watching him, and I was excited. And plus, my favorite baseball player of all time, the guy I've always idolized, like my favorite, like just to watch, was Greg Maddux. Kind of have similar
Yeah.
pitching styles as that guy. You know, we pitch sideways. You know what I'm saying? There's no real up and downs. There's sideways and taking speeds and changing speeds, that type of stuff. Anyways, my dad had rotator cuff surgery on his shoulder, and he was on that machine where it was just, movement machine where it's going up and down. And that's the first time I really remember seeing my dad cry. So I asked him why he was crying. He was like, "Oh, I miss playing baseball, Meal. My shoulder's messed up and I can't play." I'm like, "Dang." So after a little bit, I looked down and said, "Hey, Dad, you know what? I'm going to do that. Don't worry, Dad. One day I'm going to retire you doing what you love to do. So I'm going to do that." And you can ask him to this day. Like, I promise you, like, that was that when I was in front of the college recruiter, and I was like, I looked at him, he goes, when he asked me, "You really think you can do it?" That's what he was referring to, was the promise I made it. My dad's dreams were to go to college, be a Major League Baseball player, and be some kind of counselor or teacher of some sort. Well, I've gone to college. I didn't graduate like he wanted to, but I got to college. I am a Major League Baseball player, and I have been some kind of coach, some kind of teacher, some kind of mentor of some sort to my rookies, the guys that have played underneath me, some high school players, some college guys. Like, it's like I've tried, spread my influence a little bit. And my dad retired last April. So it's been a year now that my dad's retired. So like, it's one of those, that's promise that, a pat on the back. Like I told you so, Dad. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So that's one of the things that kept me going. And my dad raised a man of his word, and I had to keep that promise. So that's basically, again, that's just conviction, having intent, being willing to take that lump, knowing that it's not going to be easy, because nothing's ever easy. There's nothing really handed ever to you. So all I had was God, my family, and the balls that were between my legs and a pair of nuts, and that was it. Like that was it. That was it. And again, those potatoes that I was given, they got beat up and they got walloped and mashed all the way around. But my mashed potatoes taste good. You know what I'm saying? Like they got some good flavor to that thing. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, and it's true. I mean, I think that's one of the greatest. That has to be one of your greatest accomplishments. I mean, aside obviously from having World Series rings and all that. I mean, when you
being a father,
when you rewind it, being a father, when you rewind it, and you set out on this journey, and the promise was to one day retire your dad, and to be able to accomplish that. I'm still trying to do it because my parents don't want to stop working, and I tell them, I'm like, this stop. And,
good luck.
And they're just like, no. But and again, I mean, Beto, and this is a funny story. When back in 2008. Before Sergio got called up, I was in New Hampshire and he was in Norwich, Connecticut. We're in the same league. And I remember, obviously we knew each other from the fall league. So we went out and had a few pops after the game. And I remember we had more than a few, and we had a good night and all that. And obviously I was struggling, and he's sitting there and he's like, "How the fuck am I sitting here giving you advice when you should be giving me advice?" But he was, like I said, he had been dominating at that level, and a few weeks later he was up in the big leagues making his debut. And I just remember him texting me saying, "I'll never forget that night. One day I'm gonna repay you back." Seriously. And I'm sure, Sergio, you remember that? I mean, that night when we were out at that bar in New Hampshire.
I can't think of that dude's dad, Krieber, or something. There was a guy on your team. His last name started with a K, and his dad was even there that night. So Cougar. Kruger? No, there was a guy on your team that he was like the MVP of the Florida State League.
Josh Cruiser.
See, that's what I'm talking about. His dad was in there, and we were at that bar. I remember, dude, we just sat there and chatted homie up the whole night. That was great. I do remember that. Anyway, but here's the gig. Like, I do remember things. Those were kind of, like I said, when I first met you, other guys, we didn't play the same team as them, but like when we had gone out a couple times, I'd run up with Cesar Ramos. But I hadn't run into you guys, being around you guys, going, damn, like these dudes have seen it a little bit. I want to learn a thing or two, right? So it's like boom, and then I watch how you guys all treated each other, not only just each other, but the guys around you too. It wasn't that, yeah, you guys had gotten a little bit more money when it comes to signing bonuses wise or whatever. So like there was almost an expectation of people that you guys were going to pay for everything every night, or every time we came over to like say your house or whatever, we had, it was right to come empty handed, so to speak, like it was almost like there was an expectation of you guys to pay for everything. And I remember one day I showed up, this is just me. And I showed up with the gate, you know what I'm saying? One day, and everyone kind of looked at me like, what the hell? And I was like, well, what? I was like, I didn't know what else to be. But Ricky was one of those like, hey man, like, don't worry, dude. Like, hey man, dude, just next time I got it or whatever. Like he never let me pay for anything when I was with him. And it wasn't that I ever asked him to. Every time I tried to put something on the table, it was almost like, no, I got it. Don't worry. Da, 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 da. So then when we came to AA, it kind of happened again and again and again. And I'm sitting like, fuck, dude, like, I'm going to pay you back. Like, you got to let me pay you back. Like, what are you talking about? So then I get to the big leagues. Then, honest, I've got a chance to meet mom and pops. I got a chance to meet sister's brother. I've got a chance to meet the family. Mom, I've eaten mom's cooking. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I've been to home. Like, I like the house he got for his parents. Like, I've seen his family. I've met his family. And to me, the way they've treated me, like, I can see exactly where he gets it from. But then you look at, that's my mom. That's my dad. Well, that's my brother, my sister. Like, wait a minute. There's another Vato just like me, or I'm like similar to me or whatever. So then when I got to the big leagues, I'm able to sit there. Hey, I go to LA. What's up with mom and pops? You guys want to show up to the game? Hey, loco, ¿qué onda? You want to come this way? Whatever. Why? Because at the end of the day, it's not that I want to boast where I'm at, or, hey, look what I gave you, or whatever. Look, no, like, but it's more like, thank you. Like, hey man, like, this means something to me. And if my family is going to be here, I'd like your family to be with my family. Why not? So like I would, and then if it was like a big game too, or a big series, or like say hard to get tickets, like I knew it was, hey man, what's up, local? You want to come?
I remember the first time, one of the first times you pitched at Dodger Stadium, and I think it was the offseason of 2008 actually, and after the game, me, you, and your pops are having empanadas in the parking lot. Remember?
Yeah, my mom, dude. I got so in trouble that year too because
you walked out to the parking lot.
Blue.
Wait, so you pitched at Dodger Stadium, and then afterwards you're having empanadas in the parking lot? You're a big leaguer.
Yeah, waiting for traffic to like. Yeah. Yeah, this is before like anybody knew who he was or anything, but we were sitting there just like munching on Serge's mom's empanadas like for like 40 minutes.
Hey man, but if you seen that video, that's why I was so chubby, dude. I was like, hey, I debuted at 215 pounds.
No. You go back to this.
Right now, I'm maybe 170, maybe, and that's because I ain't gonna lie, like it's hard to stay active and motivated, and right now with this whole dilemma going on. But I'm 170 pounds right now, maybe.
All muscle. Now, Sergio, you were talking about those years in the minor leagues. You and Ricky were drafted in the same year. Ricky was the first rounder, 6th overall. We've talked about this in the past of the podcast. Different
first pitcher taken in that draft.
Yes, he was. You were the 28th.
Don't shortchange him. Don't shortchange him. You got to throw that one in there. You know why? Because if you count how many were in between him and me, that's how many guys I beat to the big league. And it wasn't because I want to throw it in his face. No, it was motivation. I'm telling you, that's kind of what I've been trying to tell you. I'm watching these guys. They're doing their thing. I'm like, man, it's not that I'm better than them. It's that I can play with these guys. I just want to play with these guys. Just dang it, somebody tell me I'm good enough for once, that type of thing. And the guys that would tell me that I was good enough, well, one of them is on this chat with us in this, part. Like that was one of the guys that told me I was good enough. And it wasn't like, hey, Baboso, like, hey, you're freaking good, bro. Or no. They wasn't like trying to blow me or nothing. It was being honest. Hey, bro, like you can really do this. Cabrón, like don't be a knucklehead. Like, hey man, you might want to chill out in certain areas like that, because he did help me out as much as he wants to say he did. He did help me out a lot, and that was a lot of the basis of our friendship. That's a lot of the base of our friendship, and how it began was his acceptance of me, and like how he made me feel visible, that type of stuff. So again, it was not that I want to be better than him.
And I know we're jumping ahead a little bit, but other than sharing a clubhouse in the fall league, I hadn't shared a clubhouse with you until I actually was a bit of your teammate, I guess, in spring training with the San Francisco Giants in 2017, whatever it was. And I think one of the things that I admired most about you is that you really didn't give a fuck about anything going on around you. It was like, I know what I have to do to prepare myself, because I know when I get the ball, it's my mound and I know what to do. You were just I always just, you guys had already won 3 World Series, but there was never the situation was never big enough big for you. I felt like you walk into that clubhouse and it's Bum, Buster Posey, Hunter Pence, but I feel like you just never got caught up in that. It was like, you walk in there and it was like, all right, Serge is here, but there was like, you knew where you stood, I feel like. And every time I'd watch you walk in, I was like, man, like this is one of the reasons why he's successful, and it's easily to be admired, because it's just, he knows how good he is, and not because he throws 95, there's plenty of those guys in that clubhouse, but it's because he knows himself and he carries himself like he does. And it goes back to the conviction, and that little short time that we got to spend, I mean, it was awesome for me. Obviously, I grew up a Dodger fan too, so putting on that black and orange was a little bit different for me, but I enjoyed it to pieces. It was really cool, and that's just something I wanted to say. It was very easy to admire you just because of I know the journey that you had been through, and then from winning your first World Series title to winning that second one, being the pitcher to throw the last pitch that year, striking out Miggy Cabrera, and then winning a third one. I mean, fuck, like what else? Like, the amount of stuff that you've accomplished and the journey that you've taken, I mean, it's just, to me, has been so cool to watch.
It's been an incredible blessing. You talk about a blessing. Thank you. Like but being able to say that I feel blessed with the trials and tribulations and the successes that have come my way, it's more of an understatement, just more so for the fact that I myself never thought it was really possible. It was just more so for myself, that inner belief, that conviction that me as a person, this is who I am and this is all I got. Me as a ball player, this is who I am and this is all I got. But I tell you what, it may be little and small and not as big, buff, and grand as the rest. I was like, but I'm sorry, like, you may kick my butt, but I'm going to hit you once or twice on the mouth, and you're going to remember this little guy.
That's for sure.
And I think that's kind of, again, a more of a compliment to my father and my grandparents, my granddads, like both my abuelitos, like my tata, mi papá, like, I'm telling you, like, they're nice as can be, and they'll put the hand out, they'll take the shirt off their back, they would do all of that. But the second they needed to, they gave you reasons to remember them too. You know what I'm saying? And it wasn't always the greatest reasons, but you still remembered them, and you were so consistent with that. And I think you can only earn respect with consistency. I know money, in my opinion, money equals power, and money is probably the most important, most powerful thing in this world, and most respected thing in this world. But I think after that, it's consistency. It's if you know what you're going to get out of something or someone or an object, a job, it doesn't matter. Food. If it's for you and you like it, then you gravitate towards it. If it's not for you, then you go one way or go the other. But it's that consistency of something that allows you to decide that and choose that for yourself.
Question. Through everything that you've been through, when you signed that big contract or your contract, millions and millions of dollars, what's going through your head? Like, what are you just like? I mean, again, you look back through your journey and everything. You're like, wow. Now, not only am I a World Series champ, but now I'm in the category where I'm going to be making millions and millions of dollars. How was that transition for?
It's still me, but the first check that I got, there wasn't even millions. It was just, I can't even say just, but I'll tell you, it was a little over 19,000, and I saw a check and had my name on it, and I got teary eyed too. Like I was like, wow, it was a really emotional moment for me, and surprisingly emotional because it was more so maybe at that point I didn't understand how much I had really put into this and had invested into that. And it was kind of like, wow, like it was a sense of a reward. Like I'd been rewarded for everything I've done or the decisions I've made and what I've just chosen to put myself through for my own reasons. And then it's just remembering what my dad told me when I got drafted and he drove me from Raleigh to Phoenix. Out of everything he told me, 4-hour drive, I remember most was he said, don't ever take for granted what you always knew was achievable, never attainable. In other words, like keep working hard, stay true to yourself, the path that you've taken, like keep working, like don't take it all for granted, like don't act arrogant, don't be big-headed, don't be a dick, like straight up, like be a good person, stay the person that you are, like, you know what I'm saying, that and keep going, keep progressing, keep growing. And like, because if you don't, those moments you don't, then you're going to really disrespect all the times that you picked yourself up, all those times that you fought through something and you overcame something and it was something that couldn't knock you down, like something that couldn't win against you. You know what I'm saying? You just didn't quit. All those times that you literally got back up and like kept fighting. Like you don't want to disrespect all those times. So that's the kind of what it was for me, like that combination of all of that, the time, the effort, the blood, the sweat, the intent, the reasons, the emotional burdens I had put on myself. It was kind of like, hell yeah, I did it. Like this is what I can get if I keep going. All right, cool, let's go. You know what I'm saying?
I know.
So complacency has never been my thing. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah. The money I know has never motivated you. And the conversation you've had over the years, it's about making your dad, the city of Brawley, where you come from, your family proud. You always told me that the way you were brought up is why you're a big leaguer, because you have that attitude. Because everybody told you, no, can't do this. You can't play D1. You can't do this. You can't do that. Yet you're the last one from that draft who's still going, still doing things. And it's not that you want to say I'm better than anybody else, but your thing has always been my roots, my foundation has been strong. You played like as a 14-year-old against men, right? You'd go across the border and play in Mexicali and all that.
Dad, they lit me up too, man. They were very unforgiving. Very unforgiving going down there. Primera fuerza down Liga Amateur over there in Mexicali. Hey man, you need to learn. Like you can't be afraid playing in certain leagues, you know. And I'm sure there's other leagues like that around there in other places, you know what I'm saying? But that was just where I learned my, my P's and Q's, to mind my certain things.
Yeah, because now kids all playing like in these like fancy travel showcases, whatever it is, and everything's getting handed to them. You representing Mexico, playing in Mexico. But my point was, Serge, if you don't suffer failure early in your life, you don't know how to get through adversity, right? And those leagues where they make you a man early, it's important for you.
Yeah, I had to learn that I was good for my age. I was good for where I'm from. I was good for my hood, my street, my barrio, whatever you want to call it. I was good for my little league district. Um, well, there's other little league districts. There's other leagues. There's other places that guys are good, and there's other places that have this and this and this and this and that. And maybe if I'd seen them or not, or I knew them or not, I knew they existed or not, or whatever. Um, they were there and they're good. You know, there's always, in my opinion, there's always somebody better than you, honest. There's always somebody where at least working harder than you, putting in time and effort that you're not putting in. You know, the mama mentality, so to speak. There's guys who are like myself nowadays. I'll be sitting around playing video games and I'll throw or whatever, and I'll do my little things here. But I know there's another younger buck over there who's still running, and he found his makeshift gym in his quarantine place, and all this good stuff, and they're still busting their high. Like, I know this, I get this. Like, there's always somebody doing something better, greater, and grander. But it still doesn't change you. It doesn't still change your potential. It still doesn't change your worth. It still doesn't have someone else's worth has nothing to do with your worth. You know what I'm saying? Like, again, it's the consistency in which you project yourself. It's what you put out. If somebody knows what they're going to get in you, they can make a choice. And when they make that choice, if it's for them or not, that's earning respect for what you've put out. You know what I'm saying? So, like, if you want something in like, say, respect or love or just the friendship or something, well, how about you give love? How about you work hard? How about you be a friend? How about you show compassion? You show sensitivity, that type of stuff. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, just be a human being. Like that, like if you really want something like that, you got to work at it. You got to be that person. You got to be that consistently and not just, fake stuff. I'm sorry, I don't ever last. You see right through that eventually, so it's the consistency in which you are and which you do something. Again, it's the food. If that food ain't good, I'm sorry, if that food is consistently not good, are you going to keep eating that food? No. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, if I was a punk with you guys every day and like it was just not a good person, would you guys even invite me on your podcast? Would you guys even care about my story? You know what I'm saying? Like, I guess it kind of goes in the same regards. If, Ricky and I couldn't have just been the good people we were to each other at a younger age, we wouldn't be able to call ourselves friends now. You know what I'm saying? Me and you, Beto, like, we became friends through other people who, in a sense, there's a story behind that, but there's, you know what I'm saying? Like, lo que no era, ya se fue. Like, you know what I'm saying?
We're still friends to this day, man.
Era, aquí estamos.
Look, this hat right here, the reason I brought out this Giants hat, and not to go back in there, but I bought this at a Giants game that you pitched at. You left me tickets. I took my kids up to the game, and the first thing I did is I went and bought my kids a Sergio Romo t-shirt. And I thought it was in this crowd. You left me tickets. It was cool. It was the first time they went out there, and I was like, I bought this hat just because it was like, let me support Romo. Those t-shirts, my kids have outgrown it. I still got the shirts right there, 54. But what hit me that day, because I knew you're to me, you're a big deal. You're fucking awesome. There were so many Romo t-shirts in the crowd that day. I didn't realize that you were that popular up there with the fan. I knew you were popular, but not to that extent. I didn't know because it was the first time.
They fucking love him in San Francisco. And this is I just got a glimpse of it in spring training. Like, I just got a little bit of a taste of it. I mean, Sergio Romo walks out. Oh man, people love him.
Yeah. That's another blessing that I didn't expect either. I mean, it's part of why I'm able to call San Francisco my home in the off seasons now. I was able to be myself there. I can't really say that about all the places I've been. Well, actually, I can't say that only about one.
Look at this.
I've been.
You wore this shirt at the parade. That's who you are.
That's me. That was one of my proudest moments that most people may not understand, was the courage that it took for me to actually wear that shirt that day. I was proud that I was able to step out of that, and in a big moment at a time that I feel, especially the people in San Francisco, people in California, needed to really, it was a voting, there was a dream act going on during that time, and I had to take my shot. I mean, come on, man. My team put me in a place to be able to do something big and play a role bigger and greater, grander than I thought I could ever play. Again, I said to start this off that I prefer being Robin and being the setup guy for all of that. The beginning parts of that was cool. It was awesome. Being the guy at the end, that was a burden I didn't think I could carry. That was I didn't know I could actually. But my teammates, day out, the fans, San Francisco, and out. It was just that they reminded me every day. They confided in me every day. They would literally say things like, "Man, this is an 8-inning ball game." Wait, what? No, we play 9. They're like, "No. We got to lead through 8. It's over. We got you." And I was like, "Okay, cool. Like these people really feel this way." I said, "I'm starting to believe in this too." So then it just kind of turned into that soap. That Mama's Estrellita sopita that you want to eat all the time. Yeah. No matter what time and day, no matter what hour, no matter donde sea, it doesn't matter. That sopita estrellitas, it always hits. Yeah.
That's
That's
Romo.
what I want.
And then
That's what I
you
had
got
there.
you got your own ice cream. You wore the I only look illegal T-shirt, and then you get your own ice cream too.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome. Hey, dude, it's yummy
Only
too.
tastes
By the
legal.
way,
Wow.
what is it? Was this the playoff? The shirt, you know what I'm saying? Like that was kind of like my big leagues. Like, hey, like there's a personality behind the beard, and that kind of added to that. Again, you talk about most people talk about glory days and all the good stuff like that. I was like, I didn't really have glory days. I had giant days. You know what I'm saying? Like I had ginormous days. Like and it's been easy for me to say that way, especially even though I've played in other places, and I'm very thankful and grateful for all these other places I've played. They've treated me tremendously well. It's kind of hard to say that I'll have better times in those, than being on those teams where we all really, really gave no f's about no ifs and what's. We didn't give any shits about anything but ourselves. We wanted, like, we believed in ourselves and we could play. So again, those days with the Giants, they were not glory days, they were Giant days for me.
Do you think a lot of that obviously the players were there, and I mean you guys bought in, to that group was so. What I noticed from being in there, that group was so close. Like you guys knew like what you guys had to do. Everyone had their roles, but do you think Bruce Bochy played a big part in that?
Well, yeah, he's the one that establishes that atmosphere.
Yeah.
I know as us players and the veterans, play a huge part in it, but it's the manager, it's the guidelines he sets, it's the boundaries that he sets, it's what he allows and doesn't allow, it's the way he talks to your players, it's the way you make your players feel visible or not. Because there are some guys that feel completely invisible that play every day, but there are guys that feel extremely visible that play every other day, every 3-4 days. Yeah. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's easy for guys to get lost in the numbers game because there are so many guys that do come in and go through. There are so many, different faces and whatnot. But the manager's the one that sets it all up. The manager's the one that literally, hey man, like if he's like Bochy, he's so laid back, but he's got a personality behind that big bodied man. He is big body, deep voice, but he's got a personality and he would talk us. For me, like he treated me honest. I've seen him treated the way I've seen him treat his sons, like as a father. Like I've seen him be a coach and a father at the same time, literally, because Brett is, we played on the same team for his dad. But he treated me the same way, and I feel he treated everybody the same way, like he treats his son. We all got to see it firsthand, and there was no difference other than the fact that he would go to dinner with a kid, or, like when they're outside off the field, but he didn't treat us any different. There's huge, and plus, I think he understood us. I can't say that for every manager in the big leagues because I haven't played for every manager, but that dude he knew his pieces. Like he was a chess master and he knew his pieces. He knew that the queen can go to any space he wants and like you go to any angle. He knew the rook can only go forward and sideways, like that type of stuff. Like he knew all of that. He knew when and where to throw his pieces. Like that was pretty cool, man.
And it seemed like that those Giants teams, they let you have your personality, let you show who you are. And as we've talked this conversation separate with Ricky, like when you're a baseball player, you're separated by your race. It's like the country boys go over here, the Dominicans go over there, the Mexican Americans are left by themselves, right? Like it's like you can't.
There's not very many of us. Oh man.
Exactly. It's like, okay, the Mexicans, but you're not Mexican. As Ricky brings his new puppy in, but one thing that you resonate a lot, and everybody goes say, "Oh, the dog." Yeah, it's everybody. All Mexican Americans relate with you, Romo, because you have the USA tattoo, you have the Mexican flag tattoo, but you come into El Mechon, right? You play for Mexico. Why El Mechon and why that song, which would get everybody fired up? When I heard it in San Francisco, I'm like, man, these Republican conservatives are listening to El Mechon right now.
They got no idea what it's saying. They don't know if it's provocative. They don't know if it's like anything. They don't know if it's profane. It doesn't. But they love that damn thing.
Yeah.
They love that thing.
What made you choose that?
So Trip. So like when I first got called to the big leagues, I had Suavemente was my first song in the big leagues. Suavemente, besame, that one. Elvis Crespo, I think. Yeah. Anyway, so Juan Uribe was on the team, and Juan Uribe goes, Romo, ¿por qué esa canción? Like, why that song? And I'm like, well, I like it. It's badass. Like, what? And he goes, you got to change it. Like, what? He's like, basically in Spanish, of course, but he's like, hey, lo tienes que cambiar. Tú no eres nada suave, ni nada, ni madre. And I'm like, wow. Like, he basically said, I'm not smooth at all. There's nothing smooth about you. That song does not fit you. You need to change that shit. So I was like, I bet. And that was like 2008. And then he didn't tell me till 2009. So then I changed it to Beastie Boys, Intergalactic, because Wilson came out to what was the one that Wilson came out to? Jump Around. No, I don't remember. Anyways, whatever.
House of Pain.
So I changed it to that one. So I came out to that song. So then at the end of the season in 2009, 2010, one of the seasons, last week, it was 2010. The last game of the season, I went in and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to put some Mexican-ass song up there. Just if I pitch today, I'm just coming out to a Mexican-ass song. So I happened to pitch in the 9th inning that day. And I came out to El Mechon. I picked El Mechon because, honest, I had fucking highlights in my hair already. And El Mechon in Spanish has multiple meanings, of course. El Mechon could be like a highlight in your hair, like, streaks or whatever, highlight in your beard or, any kind of color basically in your hair. Or it could be like a padlock, like a candado, you know what I'm saying? Anyways, so I was kind of both. I was closing at the time and I had a painted mohawk. So I put it on just to mess around. And then it hit. Everybody jammed out. Everybody stood up. Everybody was dancing. They played the whole damn song. The very first time, I was like, wow, this is crazy. I went and I punched out the side. It was nuts.
Have you met the band that plays the song?
Yeah, that's it, bro. They're pretty dope. They're from Mazatlan and stuff. So Trip, in 2016, I started playing in Mexico, winter ball again, and I played for Charros de Jalisco. Tried to get yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Oh man. So I was playing. So I was playing there, right? And we go to play Mazatlan, and the Venados de Mazatlan, and I come in to pitch for the first time, and it's a safe situation for my team. And there's a band that starts playing, a live band starts playing El Mechon as I'm warming up. And in the stands,
Wait,
and
you're
I'm
the
like,
visitor.
what the fuck? As a visitor, yeah, I was tripping out. Anyways, so I get the save or whatever. So then the next day I come in and I get a chance to pitch again. I get a save the next day also. That same damn band's up there. And I'm like, what the fuck? Whatever. Didn't even think nothing of it. You know what damn band was? It was Banda MS.
Oh no.
It was like maybe four. It was like six of them. Well, it was like six of them. Because, they kind of expanded, and they got a lot more now. But there was like six of them, bro, just chilling there. Not all of them, just chilling there. Bam, bam, bam. I was like, what? They invited me to the house. They invited, like, I'm talking like carne asada, like
No
mariscos,
way.
some cheves, Like those vatos are dope, bro.
You have the band, the banda that sings the song is in the crowd playing for you. Only Sergio
Like
Romo. Only Sergio Romo.
Dude, it tripped me out. Like it's like the local band, like they're the local shit. So they're playing the stuff up there and whatever. And then I met his name is Andres something. I don't know if he's affiliated with them anymore or not, because some things change. Can change. But Andres, whatever, I can't remember. I got his contact.
That's cool,
but
cool.
he was the one that was like, "Yo, you want to do this?" He was like, "Well, what?" He's like, "Well, your homie," and he was like, Sebastian Valle was like my son's Nino. That's my homie from. He played in Mazatlan. He was like, "Yo, like, what's up?" Like, "Hey, well." So then, yeah.
Freaking Romo. This is live on YouTube, so if you have a couple questions, feel free to jump in. Right now, we're going to ask you as we're wrapping up the show. Romo, I told you this is easy, man. We don't care about baseball. We care about you and your stories, and you're fantastic. You're inspiring to people.
Hey, man, watch out these greñas. You should care about these greñas. Send me a barbero or something, man. Jeez, qué bárbaro, man. Oh, qué bárbaro.
You can get away with that. You can get away with that.
What questions do you have, BD?
All right, so Romo, we always ask everybody here that's a guest, if you could tell 18-year-old Sergio Romo the best piece of advice, what would it be? What would you tell 18-year-old Sergio Romo right now?
Wow.
See, we're deep.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, I've never really thought about that. Oh, man. Honest, like, for reals, que no seas culero. Like, for reals. No seas culero. Like, fucking go for it. You know what I'm saying? Go for it. Like, the only one that's gonna hold you back is you. Like, pros. I've been the only person to ever really hold myself back. If it's because I believe somebody, the reasons why someone tell me no or what, or someone tell me I couldn't do something or whatever. I've always been my biggest obstacle. And I've always kind of been intimidated of myself. Why? Maybe understanding my potential, or maybe seeing my own potential go left and go right at the same time. You know what I'm saying? So I think it just no seas culero, like go for it. Like just be you, for real. Don't be afraid. Just murder it, like for real. Just run for it. Agárralo porque es tuyo. Like we can keep going on this one. I could say this so many different ways. No seas culero, Sergio. That's really it.
Well, go ahead. Keep on saying it in different ways. We can translate, maybe.
God.
But that's also the golden rule, right? Just be nice to people.
Say that again.
Like in baseball, you run into so many different characters, and it just be nice, right? Just be a good teammate.
Like for reals, like be the kid that your parents raised, because that he knows what's up. That kid knows what's good. Like he knows how to be a good person. He knows how to honest. He knows how to just do his stuff. He knows how to be where he needs to be. He's reliable. He's accountable. You know what I'm saying? He's responsible. Believe it or not. The kid's the man, for reals. The kid's got a lot of potential to be the shit, so go be that, for reals.
This right here, Romo, from a high school player, Nate Flores. How do you prepare your body?
Well, I'm a little different. The one thing is you gotta. I think you gotta understand your body first and foremost. I think some guys are meant to be and can perform and still be themselves at bigger, stronger, they're more muscular, tighter, whatnot. But for me personally, I do a lot of shoulder work. I do a lot of jobs, I do a lot of scap work. And I focus on my legs. The legs and my shoulders are probably the strongest parts of my body. Conditioning is key. I don't like to run, believe it or not. I don't like to run, but it's crucial. It helps. It helps those little muscles in your shoulders. It helps you stay loose. It helps you stay flexible. It keeps your muscles limber. You know what I'm saying? And stamina, I'm sorry. Like I don't like running out of my 85, 86s, after 5 fastballs. I'd like to throw about 50 and still have 85, 86 in the tank, So that's really it. I mind my shoulders and my legs. That's basically it.
And one more right here. What best advice for somebody who wants to play in college but isn't getting recruited or looks?
Well, the splash is only as big as you really, really make it. You can't sit there and be loud or nothing and like, oh, look at me, or like start whatever. But don't be afraid to put yourself out there. Put a video together to put a recruiting video of some sort. Don't be afraid to reach out legitimately and like bet on yourself. I think our play, your play, or anybody's play really should just speak for itself. So put together a video, post it, start, try like, again, there's so many different social medias and branches that you can use in those regards. But maybe there's travel. I know there's a quarantine life, whatever going on. I don't know how long that's going to happen or whatever. But there's ways you can put yourself out there that way too. Reaching out. There's open tryouts for certain travel teams. There's he say, she say, like by word of mouth, you can go to certain tryouts. I mean, I was fortunate enough to have like Mexico. I grew up close to Mexico, so I can go play in the winter or in the weekends and still be able to be seen and whatnot. I didn't have the travel teams and whatnot, but my dad was mainly the one putting me out there. If it were because of a recruiting video, if it were because, hey, you know what? my son's playing today. I'm going to record him. Oh, he did something cool. Oh, well, I'm going to go send this to this person and see what they say. I mean, send it to like a local media outlet even, hey, look, I did this weekend. How about you just throw this out there, that type of stuff.
It's one of the things we talk about here too, Beto, where you're very active on social media yourself, BD, and you're always putting out like, hey, the Lakers are hiring so and so. Go get it, and that's pretty much the way it has to be. If you really want it, I mean, and you're not getting seen, you have to go out and be the hustler and be like, all right, I'm gonna sell myself to be this guy, and all I need is one school. But once you get that one school, you better be ready to work and be ready to outwork everyone.
Back to shish up, yeah. Like you got to back it up. You got to go in there, and if you're gonna say something like, "Hey, like this is me. This is what I got. This is what I am." Well, you got to show up and you got to be that. There's no pressure that you have to perform and be the best, whatever. No, but you have to be what those videos are saying is the person that enjoys what they're doing, working hard, reliable, accountable, there when they need to be. That type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? In other words, you got to be a good person. Like if you can be a good person, you got to be consistent. Like if you could be this, I'm telling you, life is very rewarding in those aspects. It can be very unrewarding going in other aspects, but from that standpoint, hey man, it's beneficial. Again, consistency, in my opinion, is what's respected most in this world. So show people with consistency who you are, what you got to offer, the good, the bad, the great, the ugly, the wonderful, all the good stuff. Just be that. For real.
Man, this has been cool. Ricky, got anything else? Because, man, we could go all day long. We could do all kinds of stuff.
We keep going. This could be a 5-hour podcast easily.
It could be. Of course, Westside Love.
I do have a funny story, though, to share about Serge. The day I got married, I have a picture of him. He ended up with my dad's Tejana. And my dad had by the end of the night, took off his Tejana, Sergio had it on, and my dad had his Cal State Fullerton hat on with the suit. I have that photo, and every time I look at it, it's classic. Serge, it's just a classic Serge and my pop's picture. You know, him in a suit, baseball hat, because he hates wearing anything else. Anything else that is not a baseball hat, he hates it. So by the end of the night, Sergio had his hat.
I got a great picture from that wedding of Sergio with a great hold. You might have had a lot of great holds in your career, but there's a great hold that you had at Ricky's wedding. I won't say the person's name, but you held on to that guy, Romo. You did a great job. You might have got to sing that night too.
He was the best man in that wedding. Remember?
I remember. Yeah. Okay. Wait. I'm glad he's alive. I'm glad. I'm really, really glad. And I'm glad we found him. He was found. He was found. That is true. He was found, and he's alive.
All I heard is
I'm not gonna say his name. Hey, Carnalito, that's what's up, bro. Hope you're well, loco.
All I heard was like, "Hey, Romo's got him." I was like, "Got who?" Oh no, he's got it. He's got it. He's good. He's got him. I'm like, all right.
Amazing
No,
wedding.
bro, he's got no. I had him. I had him all right.
If that person would have been drinking 101 cider, he would have been fine. He was drinking everything else. Make sure you guys go pick up 101 cider, Ricky's cider company, and you can use the code Romero and get 15% off right now. Also, Westside Love sending some awesome hats. Romo, we're gonna get you some Westside Love caps, man. You're gonna love these that they've been rocking and have the W up there.
The West Coast.
Yeah, that's it. So
Romo, I've been needing some new gear. I've rocked this for like 7 years in a row.
I was about to say, dude, it's the same hat.
It's the favorite hat. What can I say? It was 2000. Hey, no bullshit. It was 2015, yo. This hat.
Damn,
2013 Clásico.
That's from the Clásico? Man. Hey, all right, so Romo, see, this wasn't bad, right? It's a podcast. You know what a podcast is now. It was fun, right?
Ahora sí. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it, vatos. Hey, ¿sabes qué, though? It does feel good that I'm not like chopped liver or nothing, you know what I'm saying? That I'm like actually like I'm a good ass carne asada taco that you want to bite into, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm sabroso, you know, like. You know what I mean?
I'm sure people are going to be really happy we had you on. And we turn it into a pod. This one was live, but we'll turn it into a podcast, and then people can listen to it on. Well, nobody's really driving right now, but.
Yeah, exactly. And just to let you know, when we started this podcast a year ago, you're one of the first persons that Ricky wanted to have on. Thank you for texting him back after 8 months. We really appreciate it.
Valió madre, güey. ¿Cuándo empezaste a manejar las trocas, güey? ¿Cuándo empezaste a manejar las trocas, güey?
Yeah. Romo, big fan of yours, man. Love you, hermano, carnal. And anything else you got to say? Last words for the people, Romo.
Hey, man, for real, la neta, gracias. Like, thank you for always, following, for always supporting, La Raza. There's reasons why we do things, and I feel like I speak for both of you guys also. There's reasons why we do things, and our Raza are part of those reasons. We want to be examples. We want to be proof that we can make it, that things are possible, right head on your shoulders, right supporting cast, that, right work ethic. We could accomplish anything, and if we can really, really, really be that to you guys, allow us to be that. See us for the worst that we can provide. And it's not that we're big-headed, arrogant, and conceited, and we think we're this. No. It's we only have our experiences to speak off of, So thank you for being willing to hear about our experiences, and hopefully we can help you guys out, and we can help pachanga together. You know what I'm saying? Like we can all do the party thing, So and like hang out and have a good time and just live.
Appreciate it.
Partying together. I mean.
Let's go. Let's go.
Hey, I made it.
You made it
still, bro. So I don't know.
Ricky, I'll talk to you later. Once again, Westside Love is where you want to go check out the hats. 101 Cider, and thanks to everybody at Pro Angle Media. John McKelvey running the controls. Make sure you listen, rate, and review on YouTube. Also, podcast, the Let's Go Ricky Roll podcast. JPR and CB the week before. This week, Sergio Romo. We're going to continue to grow and roll with you on quarantine. Thanks for listening to the Let's Go Ricky Roll podcast.